Oh my gosh, I'm back. Are you here? Is anyone here? I am so sorry. I have no idea what happened. I'm trying to show you something and then my entire screen is black. So let me know if you're back. Oh my gosh. This has been the weirdest week and it's only Tuesday, and I think with Jason being in the hospital and everything is thrown off, it figures, right? Just like we do in the classroom, we're just going to roll with it. So, I am not going to try to pull up my internet to share my screen and show you, but in the comments later, I will link Smarty symbols and lesson pics and all those things for you. So let's just move on and knock on wood, okay? So the first thing you're going to want to do is either help the parent choose pictures or you go ahead and print them for them. All right. Carefully turning to the next page here. Alrighty. Daniel, thank you for waiting for me. I really, really appreciate it. All right. The second thing you're going to want to do is assemble the schedule. And even if you do this for the parents that you work with, it's really good to kind of show them how they can do it on their own too. Hey, Sophie. Sophie works with me, so she has seen these before. So I'm just going to come to the full screen here so I can show you. But if you've heard me talking, you know these are my favorite. Using the pencil pouch, because then you can store all of the pictures that you need inside. And so here, all you need, and all the parents need, grandparents, whoever, is a pencil pouch and a strip of Velcro across the front of it. And then you can put all the pictures inside. You can laminate a sheet and store all the extra pictures in there so they're easy to reach into and grab. And so these work so, so well. And so when teaching parents, you can let them know, buy something simple like this, or you can just laminate a piece of paper. Better if it's like cardstock or a file folder or something, but laminate that. You can have it going vertical or horizontal, and there you go. And so Taylor said, I love that you don't put every picture for the schedule that you have. You always show 2 or 3 at a time. And for me, working with 3 and 4-year-olds, like, they don't understand most of my students don't understand a whole big list yet. Maybe when they're in elementary or at some point they'll get there, and that's awesome. But starting with, I'll tell you this, when you're just starting with 1 is really good. And I'll talk about that a little bit when I talk about the third tip. But anyway, I love something simple like this. It can be inexpensive, easy to grab. Like, don't make it more than it needs to be. So you can use real pictures or you can use any of these kind of cartoon pictures. I do have, I'll mention later, in my visual support starter set, I have just a little set for home and school to get started, which would be a nice way to just kind of get parents going. There's a little explanation in there too, so you can feel free to send that home. And anyway, so you help them choose the pictures, or they do it on their own, especially when they're a go-getter. And then you decide what kind of schedule is going to be easiest to use at home. And this story isn't about necessarily schedules, but it's a little bit more about using a textbook, but kind of the same thing with parents. When I was in Russia in 2015 and 2016, Terry, who I co-teach with, she and I went to Russia together to model and teach their teachers how to use all the strategies for working with young children with autism. And one parent came in, or a mom and a dad came in, and they brought a little sheet and they said, our doctor wrote a prescription for PECs, but we don't know what it is. And to me, that really spoke of kind of that disconnect. Like, the doctor probably thought, well, everyone knows what this is. Like, I do this all day, and I say I use PECs. And the parents had it written down, and they didn't know what that was. And thankfully, we had come with several communication books so we could show them, give it to them, practice it with their child. But at first, like, this is not common knowledge for someone that's new to the diagnosis of autism. And so we really, really want to support them. And if it means at first making the pictures, helping make the schedule, we do that. And I actually love doing that. It's super fun. And I love it when parents, I don't push it on them. They, we talk about it. And when they're ready to implement it home, I'll help them with it. But when they do, like, I have one parent right now, she's amazing. And she's like, I don't want to bother you, but when we go out in the community, when we drive somewhere, whenever he sees a place he likes, like Chipotle or Target, he wants to just go there. And he doesn't understand we can't just go there. And so she said, could you make me pictures of all these places so that I can make like a sequence strip, which we'll talk more sequencing strips next week. But she wanted to make a sequence or something removable where she could say, these are the places we're going and these other ones we're not going today. And I was so excited to make it because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's taking this to the next level, and she is advocating for him and figuring it out. And so we're laying that groundwork so that in the future, parents are empowered to do this on their own. So choose the pictures, assemble the schedule, whatever that might look like. And then I would always start with just modeling the visuals. So let's not make it high pressure. We don't want to hand over hand at home be making them take these pictures. At first, much like in this picture, point it out. And yeah, that one has 4 pictures, but I really would start with 1. And I'll come back to you here. You can hear my Velcro ripping because that's like the sound we hear all day long, right? So I might say, oh, look, it's time for bubbles. And then refer to it several times. And when you get to your spot where you're going to do the bubbles, oh, look, it's bubbles. And this isn't requesting. And so that's a distinction we kind of have to make. Like, this is what we're doing or what's coming up, but I'm not going to make them give this to me or, use this for communication. This is just to reference to, this is what we're doing. So once kids, when you think they can kind of understand a couple things, like, okay, first we're going to do some bubbles and then we'll read the book. And then after bubbles is done, oh, look, we're done with bubbles. Now we're doing book. And just modeling that. That is the only thing you need to start with. You don't have to start with thinking, oh, they're going to be independent right away or that you need to be doing more. Think of it as like narrating your day, but in pictures, because we know pictures help kids understand. And pictures help everybody. When I was in Russia, I didn't understand the language. And if I saw a picture, another funny Russia story, we went out one day without our translator or without our interpreter with. And we went to McDonald's because we needed Wi-Fi so that we could check in with everybody at home. And we went up and we thought, well, if we're using their Wi-Fi, we really need to order something. And we went up and they couldn't understand us at all. And we thought we could like somehow let them know what we wanted. And the poor teenage girl was looking at us like, I have no idea what you're saying. So using the Wi-Fi, I pulled up like Diet Coke on my phone and pointed, and then she understood me. And we got our order and all was well. But it's the same thing. So pictures help our students and our children who are autistic, are visual learners. And so just narrate your day with pictures. Start there. And then you can start thinking about, okay, how am I going to do a sequence to kind of show them what's coming up? So I hope that makes sense as a good place to start. What do you guys think? Do you think, are you a parent who's watching? Do you think that would be a doable place to start? Print some pictures, make the schedule, and then just model it. Going to the bathroom. Oh, look, we're going to go to the car. So let me know in the comments if you think that's a good place to start without feeling overwhelmed. The last thing we want to do is overwhelm you. All right, so those are kind of the 3 tips to get started. And then I'm going to talk about 3 ways to improve transitions using a visual schedule. All right, so one of the ways is to be proactive. So you need to think ahead. Now, at first, this is new to you and this is new to your child at home. Even if they're doing a visual schedule at school, you are changing up a pattern at home. So give yourself grace. Don't feel like you have to have a picture for every single thing you do. Take different portions of the day and say, okay, I'm going to do, I know what we're going to do, the next 3 things that we're going to do this morning, and I'm going to try to use the pictures. So I'm going to put together a little example here. All right. So I might say, let's say your child or the child is playing with some of their favorite toys. And we know a really difficult transition is moving from preferred activities, something they love, to something they maybe don't like as much or aren't as interested in. Leaving favorite things is so hard for everybody. But when you have a child who has communication delays and really likes their routine and plays maybe repetitively, it's harder to give those things up. If we're saying, all right, we're going to be all done, and we kind of explain it with just words, we kind of sound like the Charlie Brown teacher, blah, 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 blah. And so the pictures are going to help us start to bridge that gap with understanding. So I'm going to get a little kitchen timer. They do have time timers out there, but I find when I'm teaching this, having the beep, unless your child hates the sound of a beep, then you would want to avoid that. But having a kitchen timer where you can put in 3 minutes, let's say. So I would say, okay, 3 more minutes with your cars, then lunch. And whether this is the only picture on here or we have these other ones to refer to also, that's okay. But I would bring the timer over so they get used to seeing it. 3 minutes, then lunch. And then at the 2-minute mark, 2 more minutes, then lunch. And so you're really, a lot of times it doesn't look like they're even looking at this or listening to you. But when you start being proactive and you develop this new routine and this new pattern, it can really create that predictability. And a lot of times you start seeing little glimpses that, okay, they know what I'm talking about, or the transitions will just automatically one day start going smoother, and it's like, okay, they get it. So then I go 1 minute, then lunch, and then this is the magical part. And if you don't have the visual support starter set and you haven't heard me talk about this yet, this is the magical all done bucket. Do any of you guys use the all done bucket that I've talked about? So when I started working at the school district I'm in, Terry Swenson, the special ed teacher that I co-teach with, she used an all done bucket, and it is magical. I'm like, how did I live all these years without an all done bucket, right? So what I would do then is timer beeps. Oh, okay, all done cars. Or right now my example are little bears. All done playing. And then you help them put it in the all done bucket. And I am not kidding. It usually doesn't take long before you come over. They see this and the stuff goes in. It's kind of shocking the first couple times it happens. Daniel said he uses the all done bucket and loves it. Yes. I mean, can we just talk a minute about how amazing, if you struggle with your child or students leaving a preferred activity, can you even imagine just walking up with this at some point in the near future and they just put the stuff in? I mean, even iPads. Seriously. Once you use it consistently and they kind of get it, and then they can't argue or be grumpy with an all done bucket like they can with a person, right? So I swear this is one of the best things I've ever seen. So you pair this with the schedule and it's amazing. So I want you to try it, all done bucket. And if you start having some success or you have some questions along the way, message me. So yeah, that's part of being proactive. Setting that timer. And then here it is, using the all done bucket. Daniel, yes, he said so much better that they relinquish the toys without having to take them. Yes. I would say the first couple times, I wouldn't get in a grabbing struggle, but if you have to gently guide their hands in there to let it go and then remove the all done bucket so that they can't fish it back out, that's okay. I wouldn't get in a big power struggle and make it into a super stressful thing. Some kids it works really quickly and some kids it takes some time. And that's okay. So, be proactive with a timer. That's one way to help with smoother transitions. Use an all done bucket along with the visual schedule. And this is where a lot of strategies start kind of meshing together. So it's not just using a visual schedule. It's combining a bunch of these strategies, and pretty soon you'll have all these tools and you'll know what works with your child, and you can kind of grab these out of your toolbox. All right, the third way to help with transitions, and I have these pictures here, is to have a picture like in the bathroom. I'm going to come full screen to you again. So in the bathroom, whether you're at school or at home, you could have a picture like this. There's nothing special about this size or this specific bathroom picture. You could take a real picture of your own bathroom or use something like this. This could be a small picture to match it to. This is a little bigger for me because we have several kids using the bathroom, so it needs to fit a lot of pictures. And so this is taped up in our bathroom near the toilet. And so when I give them the bathroom picture, so, okay, lunch is done, it's time for bathroom, I can help them, whether I carry it or they're ready to carry it, I can help them find their way and match the bathroom picture. And this makes something that's kind of a little abstract, like if they don't quite understand what the bathroom is, but can they match a picture to a picture? And this gives them, once they're ready, something to hold, and it gets them in there, and this helps them remember where they're going. So I have students now who are 3 or 4, and once they've learned the schedule and how to use it, they can go up to their schedule. I'll say, check your schedule. They go up, they would take the bathroom off, and without me holding their hand or showing them where to go, they know where bathroom is because they bring it and they match it. And in the future, they probably won't need that piece anymore. They won't need to have to match it. They'll know where these places are. But this helps so much, and I love this strategy. Has anyone watching used this strategy where they match it to the location? It could be a picture of your dining room table, and anytime you're doing something at the table, you could put that there. It could be snack, dinner, a craft, some sort of other activity, Play-Doh. You could do a Play-Doh picture, but you could also just do the location to get them to go to the location. And so, like at school, we have a lot of different locations. And so kids go and match. So Casey said, never thought of that. Brilliant. Yeah, I hope that you try it and see if it works. I mean, obviously a lot of things take repetition and time to kind of kick in to build that independence. But once they start to get it and you kind of see the wheels turning, they're they get pretty confident. Like, I've got this. I'm going into the bathroom on my own, and you do not have to help me. We had a student today. We're in gym class. Not completely related to visual schedule, but it was hilarious. One of our paras, she's a substitute. She's amazing. She's 80 years old. She used to be a special ed teacher, and now she subs in our room during a pandemic. She's the GOAT. Anyway, she's standing and trying to encourage a child we have this play set in the little gym. She's trying to encourage him to go up the steps and down the slide. And he wouldn't go and he wouldn't go. And finally, he went over and he took her hand and he put her over on the other side of the slide. And then he went up the steps. And it was kind of like, I know what I'm doing. You don't have to tell me. I'm going to put you over here so I can go off and do it independently. It was the cutest thing. So, anyway, once kids start getting that independence and confidence in what they're doing, it's just so fun. So many times we've sat back and been like, oh my gosh, oh, they matched it, or they held the picture the whole way. You guys know what I'm talking about. They held the bathroom picture all the way to the bathroom and didn't drop it along the way. So we celebrate all these amazing steps that may seem insignificant to someone else, but to us as educators and parents, it's awesome. We love it. Those are the things it's our why we do this. Seeing some of those things click. All right, so I've kind of talked a little bit about the visual support starter set. And if any of you have been following me for a while, you're probably like, yeah, I've heard of that. I've printed it off. But in case there's someone new here, this visual support starter set, you can bind it together with all of the instructions. But each of the things that I've talked about tonight, the visual schedule, and also the amazing all done bucket, those are all included in there. So it's this exact one you can print off. You can put it in a sheet protector, or you could laminate it. And any bucket. It could be a shoebox, basket, anything. It doesn't matter what it looks like. And there are some other strategies in here too. And so if you're reading about one and you're going, okay, I see in the starter set there's a weight mat. Tara, how do I use that? Let me know and DM me and I'll be happy to answer that. Christy said, I had one kiddo go over and find the eat picture and show it to the class bunny when he wouldn't eat his broccoli and he was holding it up to his mouth. OMG. That's like the cutest thing I've ever heard. That's awesome. Melissa, where do I get the starter kit? Okay, so you can go to www.autismlittlelearners.com/visuals. VISUALS. Let's see if I can spell. Visuals. And I will, right when I'm done here, I'll put the link in the comments. And I'll just show you, here's a couple other things that are in there. I'm going to move my thing here. All right, so there's the all done bucket. There's also the weight mat, and you guys let me know if you need, if you'd like me to go over. Actually, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Is it February? Beginning of February, I'm going to be doing a webinar or like a master class, and I'm going to talk in depth about each and every one of these strategies in the visual support starter set, because I feel like I talk about them a little bit here and there, but I wanted to do like a longer session, like 40 minutes, where I talk about each of these and how to use them. So it's the all done bucket, the weight mat, which is another miracle strategy, the star chart, the visual schedule, and then adapted books. They're one of my very favorites. So we'll talk more about adapted books, and the first then board. Something else that's new, I now have certificates of completion, or like a certificate of attendance, for anyone that comes and watches these Facebook Lives. And so I have one for tonight, and I will post the link down in the comments right when I'm done here. I'll stay on for a minute here. Does anyone have a quick question for me? Put myself back up here. So, oh yeah, while you're thinking, next steps would be to sign up for the visual support starter set if you don't have it yet. I have I don't know if you all know, but I have a Facebook group that's private that you can go to and join, and I just click to let you in. And I have some little mini trainings on each of those visual support starter set strategies that I talked about. There'll be like little 10-minute videos on how to use those. And sometimes I pop some freebies in there just for you guys because you're an awesome group of people. So go in there. I'll put the link in the comments too for how to join that group. The group is just like a little more personal. This page has 67,000 people on it, but the group is, I think, like 1,700. So I get to know you better, which is awesome. I love that. Next week, I'm going to talk about 5 must-have visual sequences to improve routines at school and at home. So I'll talk more about what a visual sequence is and how it's a little different from a visual schedule per se. Oh, good. Taylor, I'm glad you're excited about the professional development hours. Awesome. All right. I don't think there's any specific questions, but you guys, thank you for being here and coming back after everything went black on my end and on your end. Crazy. So thank you. Message me if you have any comments, and I'm going to go stop this and put all the links down below, and I hope to see you next week. Let's make it through this week, you guys. We can do it. Bye-bye.